cheap cornhole boards. I'm gonna give y'all a price breakdown of what all this material cost me. So now I gotta start cutting these frame boards. We've got to cut these corners off. I'm just gonna use this case right here, the edges of all these parts, and make sure
life is too short to not have fun. So why not do a simple, cheap DIY project to have hours of fun at home? Welcome back to Bayou Farm Life.
All right, y'all, so today we're gonna be building us some cheap cornhole boards. I'm gonna give y'all a price breakdown of what all this material cost me. I used a little local mom and pop lumber yard, if you will. We like supporting local businesses around here, so we definitely give them our business. Y'all might can find this material a little bit cheaper than I did, but this is what it cost me. As I'm using the material, I'll put the price right here on the screen. So y'all stick around to the end to see what the total cost is. But I promise you, for how much fun you can have with this, it is worth the little bit of money that you're gonna spend on it. So I did buy a full sheet of 3/8 plywood. That's what I'm gonna be using for the top. I cut two 2x4 pieces out. You could probably, at your local store, get them to cut just your 2x4 pieces. I wanted to have some extra to build another set of cornhole boards after I build this set. So you could probably buy just your 2x4 pieces and cut down on your cost a little bit. So now I gotta start cutting these frame boards. I'm gonna put a cut list of all the board lengths and the degrees for the legs in the description below. So if y'all need the measurements or the lengths or the degree or whatever, go look in the description. It would probably help if I plugged it in. So these boards right here is gonna be my long runs down the side. They're 4 foot long. I gotta start cutting the sideways piece, or the whatever you wanna call it piece. So we gotta do the takeoff on these two boards right here. So each 2x4 is 1.5 inches thick. Two of them is 3 inches thick. So 2 foot minus 3 inches is what our cut is gonna be for these side pieces. Now for our actual legs in the back that'll hold the board up, we're gonna set our miter saw to 30 degrees, maybe, right there. Now we're gonna cut these legs 13 inches long on the short side. Now we've already got a 30-degree cut right here. We'll measure from the short side, 13 inches, set our saw back to 0, and cut it a square cut.
I am not a professional in any way, nor do I claim to be. But one thing I like to do, as you see me doing right here, is start my screws to where whenever I put my boards up to screw them together, the screws is already started, so you don't have to fight it. To me, it makes it a little simpler.
So now that we got both of our frames built, it's time we put our top deck on. But before we do, one thing. I forgot to mention in the beginning of this video, I'm not going to use no special tools, no special nothing really to build these, just to show that you can build these just a simple project at your home with simple, normal, everyday tools. You don't have to have a pocket hole jig, which would be probably a cleaner look, if you will, but you don't have to have a pocket hole jig and countersink all your screws and everything. You just simply need a few little small tools, the few little tools that I'm using. Now, I'm not just going to screw this plywood to the top of this frame. I'm actually going to take some wood glue, go around this frame with some wood glue, set this on there. That way, when I screw it down, I don't have to sink my screws real deep and leave big holes in the top. I'm going to take my screws and pretty much make them flush with the top of the deck.
What you see me doing right here is marking every foot. I put a screw every 1 foot. So I mark it every 1 foot. That way all my screws stayed even and it give it a nice consistent look.
So now that we got the tops done, we're going to start working on these legs. So in order for these legs to swing in and out, we've got to cut these corners off. I'm just going to use this case right here as a template to mark it out. And then I'll take my jigsaw and cut this out.
So now I'm laying out the holes to bolt these legs on. I went 1.25 inches from the end of the board and 1.75 inches from the edge of the board, which is center. So to cut the big holes in the top of the board, you'll want to go 9 inches from the end of the board, 1 foot from the edge of the board, which is obviously center. I'm using a 6-inch hole saw in this. You could probably use a jigsaw, but my sister had this, so why not use it?
So while my batteries are charging, I got this sanding block. I'm gonna go around the edges of all these parts and make sure. So let's try this again. Now that the batteries is charging and I'm waiting on that, we are going to take this sanding block and sand down all these little parts, all the edges. Just make sure there's no sharp edges is all I'm doing.
So my camera actually overheated while I was doing this. So that's why you'll see this video clip just kind of cut off at a random spot. But honestly, burning these boards is so satisfying.
So now we're back. We got some good charged up batteries, and we're gonna start installing these legs. So these legs, horses are fighting. So these legs, take you an old 2x4, set it down in the front corner, my holes right here. Take this board, put it in the front corner, take your leg with the angle down, and bump it up against there. And that's a good rule of thumb of where you want your legs to be.
Make sure to put a flat washer on each side of your leg. That way it can flip up and down easily.
So from this point, you're pretty well completed. If you didn't want to burn them, you could paint them, you could stain them, you could just clear coat them, you could do whatever you may want. Just because I did mine this way, don't mean this is how you have to do yours. You don't even have to build them this way if you don't want. This is just a cheap, easy, quick way that I've found to build them. The only thing I'm gonna do is just put a few coats of clear coat on these, but they're pretty well done. So thank y'all for coming along with me. Make sure and build y'all a set of these. Like I said in the beginning, you can have hours of fun for less than $100. So thank y'all. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.